Alright everybody, get this camera right. This is Saturday, October 12th, back down in my model shop. It's my weekend off, so thumbs up on my weekend off. I get it every other weekend. I'll be working on the sub today. I got the front done, and I posted that video up a couple days ago, and now I'm going to focus on the rear of the sub. It shouldn't take too long. Keep my fingers crossed. Maybe by today I'll have it together. If not, I'll definitely have it all together by tomorrow. But before I do that, I'll have to mask off the windows on the front of the sub. I'll have to mask off the searchlight and the floodlights. That I'll have to get out of the way before I even put it together, because once I get that sub together, it's 39 inches long, it's a long sub, it'll be a little tricky to do that, and since it's in half, it'd be more easier to do it first before I assemble it, and then I'll have to figure out how I'm going to wire it up for power. Some guys probably just go ahead and use a 9-volt battery. I thought about that, but I always like to hook mine up direct power, so I got a few ideas, and it shouldn't be too difficult to set that all up. I showed that too also in a previous video, but I'm going to go ahead, turn the camera around to my workbench. I got the rear of the sub on the workbench right now. There's not much more I can do to it other than assembling it and deciding how I'm going to wire it up. So let me go ahead, turn the camera around, and show everybody where I'm going to start with the rear of the sub. Alright, this is just sitting on the back. I don't know. Yeah, I can slide it off. And I got these two hooked up to tail fin lights. And I got those masked off. You can see I got the wire right there, and that's for, you can see here, that's for the rear lights. And she slides in pretty good. I'll probably use a little bit right in here. Maybe run a little bead down here. Not much, just enough to catch it, but with the tester's glue. I know this can be messy, it could be tacky and all that, and a lot of guys don't use this glue that much anymore. A lot of people use the Tamiya extra thin, plus I also have it in the thicker glue here with the red cap. This is good stuff too, but just to get this part here started, once I get to that point to assemble it, I'm going to have to use a little bit here and then maybe run a little bit down here on both sides, and then put it on and then finish it off with the Tamiya extra thin, like I did the front of the sub and what I did with the conning tower. But I'm going to have the power running out of the bottom right here, that hole right there, and you can see I got more than enough wire. It runs out the back here, and I got some shrink tubing holding the wire together so it's not everywhere. You can see where it starts here, and then it runs all the way back through here. I'm just going to have to attach the positive and negative wire here to where you can see I got the front of the sub there and spray booth. I'll zoom in a little bit. So it's just sitting there, but I gotta mask off the front, and it ain't gonna take too long to do that. But I can wait on that for now until I get the rear of the sub done. So that's what I gotta do there. That's what I got planned today on my workbench. I want to get this done and out of the way. Hopefully it won't take too long to do it, and I'll keep my fingers crossed that maybe I can have this all finished, the rear of the sub, and then get it together either today or by tomorrow. I know if I stay focused and work on the rear of the sub, I should have it all together by tomorrow, and then I can get it ready for some primer and paint, and I'll be able to pull out the mini spray gun I have, hook up the camera and film that. And that shouldn't take too long to primer it up and then paint it, and then I'll be basically done with the sub, and then I can move on to my next project. But for right now, I'm starting to ramble off. I'll go ahead and pause, get started on the rear of the sub, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update. Here's the propulsion tubes, the two that go to the rear of the sub. I worked on these on and off through the work on the sub. You can see here I got these done. They turned out really nice. I used copper and then flat black, and then on the inside to add some color I used gunmetal. And these parts here I thought about painting first and then putting them on when I get ready to assemble the propulsion tubes, but I may just go ahead and leave them the primer that they are. I don't know. I'll like I always say, I'll see when I get that together. Same with these, but I'm going to go ahead and get these together today. And then they go on, of course, the rear of the sub. But these turned out really nice. They look really cool. And I don't know if I got the paint up here or not. What is this right here? I might have used this brass on those propellers. And it is acrylic. Model Masters, and number is 4672. I think it is brass, and I think this is what I used on the propellers. And then of course I used the Tamiya flat black, and it turned out pretty decent. You can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble these together. I'll probably use the Tamiya extra thin, and maybe to get it started I may go ahead and use a little bit of the testers. If I knock this out and get this all out of the way, then I can finish the rear of the sub. That's about it. I mean, I got these parts to put together, and then I got the tail fin itself. And once that's all assembled to the rear of the sub, that's it. I'm ready to put the two pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead, focus on this, get this done and out of the way, and get it ready for the rear of the sub. So I'll go ahead and pause for now, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, this is Sunday, October 13th, 20 after 11 in the morning. Yesterday I did a little work on the sub, didn't do much. Today I'm going to be focused on getting the sub together so I can get it primered. I got my foam cutter on my workbench because I got to make up a bigger jig to flip the sub over and have clearance for the conning tower so I can primer the bottom, which I did make up a couple pieces. My brother brought some foam home, and it's real thick. I like it when it's real dense and thick foam, and I cut a couple pieces out already with the foam cutter, but I may cut out two more for when I flip the sub over to make sure it's steady and it's going to support the sub, because with the front done, there's a lot of weight to it with the control room and everything up in front of the sub. It's got some weight to it. The rear's probably not going to have that much weight, but I'll go ahead and show what I got in my spray booth. I'll show the foam cutter. Maybe I'll hook up the camera on my table to where I can show everybody the foam cutter. It's really cool. I got it from Amazon probably about 6 months ago when I was a Prime member. I'm not a Prime member anymore, but I ordered it on a Sunday when I was a Prime member, and I got it the next day. It's a little pricey. It's $100, It's a Hercules. It's really cool. I just didn't want to get a cheap one. I wanted to get something really nice and last a lifetime, and projects down the road with foam. I may make up some jigs for when I do the TOS 1350 Enterprise or the refit or anything on that scale, that the foam cutter would do perfect for what I need it for. So rambling off, let me show what I'm doing and what I have so far for the sub. Okay, you can see half the sub in my spray booth. Here's the foam. You can see I cut it to shape for the, you can see it's going to sit on there perfect. And I kind of did some measuring. You can see here it's going to be plenty of clearance when it's flipped over, to where I can flip her over and primer and paint it without it, with having enough clearance for the conning tower. And the foam is really thick. That's what I like about it. And I got several pieces. I got a lot more in stock. Over here is the rear of the sub. I thought about gluing this on the rear of the sub, but I think I'm gonna hold off. I already got the you can see here I got the propulsion tubes done. I did that yesterday. A little bit cleanup. I'll double check them, but I think they're about ready to mount to the bottom of the sub here in the rear. So that's looking pretty good. Almost done with it, but the tricky part's wiring it all together. Even though I just got two rear lights in the fins here, I still got to wire that up to the front of the sub. And it might be easier if I just wait and wire it up, then mount this. But I should be able to go ahead and mount these today to the bottom part of the sub here, which is good. I'll probably use some Testor's glue and Tamiya extra thin. But over here is my foam cutter. It's awesome. You can adjust it here to any angle. Should have my glasses on, but here, let me go ahead and put my glasses on. Let's see what I'm doing. Okay, you can go 60-degree angle, 45-degree, 30, 15, and 90, and it turns the whole thing here turns to whatever angle you want to cut it. Here's the wire. Back here is the power switch, and it's a Hercules. You can see here, you can go to their website. Model number, I guess, is CT115. It's awesome. Loosen this up here. The other end here, you can adjust it to wherever you want. It comes with this piece as well. You can put it up here and put any piece in here you want. Then it comes with this other attachment here to cut circles out, which is cool. So you can adjust it to whatever adjustments you want here for cutting. I think it's really awesome. It's really nice. I know it's a little pricey, but I like it. I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want to get something cheap. I didn't want to get something foam cutter that you use by hand. I wanted it to be on a level table and where I can adjust everything and cut the foam, and it does a great job. So I might set it up, my camera up on this, and show everybody how I cut these out. It's really easy to cut the foam with the Hercules here, because once it's heated up, you just go with your I used a magic marker, and I just well, to get the dimensions that I needed, I used this contour gauge, and I just pressed down, and then I used the negative side here like so, and then I traced it out with the marker, and then I cut it out with the foam cutter. So I'm trying to spit out, and it does an awesome job. So I may set the camera up for that and show everybody how it works. It's really cool, does a great job, but my main focus today is to get that sub together and get it ready for primer. So I'm going to go ahead and let everybody take another look at the front of the sub. I'll go ahead and pause for now and talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, I got the cutter on, and it should be hot enough to cut this. Shouldn't take too long. I've got this where it's loose, and I can just hold it by my hand and go ahead and cut this. Everybody can take a look how it works. There's a nice cut you can see here. It's nice and level. I'll go ahead and cut this part out here. There you have it. Perfect cut. I'll go ahead and get the other one. Do the same thing. And there you have it. Real easy. A little bit of cleanup on this side here. You can cut it paper thin. There you have it. Nothing fancy. Still need a little bit of practice on this, but just to hold the sub in place will do the job. So I figured I'd share this with everybody. Pretty awesome little cutter. So I'll go ahead and pause for now and talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. The last couple days I've been working on masking off the windows. I got the front done. It was a little tedious, you can see here. It turned out pretty good. I got the front searchlight masked off. I have to now work on the floodlights. And I noticed on the front here, I have to double check it. I have a little problem with that Tamiya tape sticking to that lens there. I don't know why, but worst case scenario comes around, then I can go ahead and use this micro mask. I'll paint it on and do several coats to cover up those lenses, but keep my fingers crossed. Tamiya tape's pretty good. Doesn't have any problem sticking to any surface. Over here in my spray booth, the rear of the sub, I did get the propulsion tubes. Couldn't think of the word. Got them installed the other day. I had to do a little bit of seam work, and I covered them with some Tamiya putty, and I cleaned that all up. I know the camera might not be picking that up, but the tricky part is going to wire the front to the rear of the sub. Here's the fins back here. I got the lighting, and you can see here it's all wired up, and I got to attach this to the front of the sub, and that of course mounts up on top of here, but I can't do that till the two pieces are together, and then the fun part will be wiring that all up. But that's what I got stored today. Shouldn't take me long to get those floodlights covered up with some tape, and then I can attach the front and rear of the sub. So that's what I got planned for today in my shop. Finish up this sub, at least get it together, and then the next step I'll be doing is getting it ready for some primer and paint. So I'll pause for now and talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. This is Friday morning, 10 o'clock, October 18th, if I'm correct with the date. Yesterday I had off when I work my weekend. For the type of job I do, I work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I'm off next Monday. Then I work the rest of the week, and then I'm off the following weekend. But yesterday I worked on the sub. I stayed focused on it, masked everything off in the front for the last couple days, and then I was having problems with the Tamiya tape for the front of the searchlight and also for the floodlights, and I went ahead and used what did I do with it? I don't know what I did with I used a liquid mask, and I thought I had it on my workbench. I went ahead and used a liquid mask. I showed that in a other video. Here it is. This is the liquid stuff I used on the searchlight and the floodlights, and it does a great job. I know there's different types of liquid masks that you can buy, but I'll come in closer. I taped it off just to hold it in make sure it's got a good support with the tape to hold the two parts together. I did use your old tester's glue. This stuff never fails me, and on big kits and certain parts going together, I can't recommend this anymore. I know it's not the best glue to always use on certain parts of kits when you're putting them together, but I've never had any problem. And then I'm going to go ahead today and use the extra thin. I'll have to get inside here. You can see that I got that little bit of a seam there, so I'm going to just make sure I get that with some Tamiya extra thin. And then on top here I still have to glue one of these on. You get a choice between 20 missiles or 16. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, put on top here after this is all taken care of course. The rear fin here is just sitting on the sub. I don't have it mounted yet because I got to do all the wiring. That's going to be a little tricky. Here you can see the stands that I made that are just primered. Sub sits on there nice. It's got a low profile. That's what I was looking for. Putting it in my display case, and it's looking good. I'm finally getting there. If I can focus today and getting this done, add some more glue, and then put some Tamiya putty in there, clean up those seams, and then I'll get it ready for some primer. I can use the minigun I got over there, the Iwata minigun. I can't wait till I can get that hooked up to my air compressor and get this ready for some primer. But I know this sub's taking me forever to get to this stage, but working third shift and my mom passing away, she'll be gone a year next month, and then my older brother passed away February this year, so both of them passed away in less than 4 months apart. So last year and this year has been kind of rough, and now I'm getting back into trying to work on my hobby between my work schedule, and can't wait till I get this sub out of the way. So I'm going to pause for now, continue working on the sub, and hope all this makes sense, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. This is Saturday. If I'm right with the date, I keep saying this in my videos, I think it's October 26th. Back down in my shop. I'm going to focus on getting this sub ready for primer. Everything's about the best I can do. Everything's done on the sub. The rear of the sub, the tail fins, I'm going to have to wire everything up today, so I'm going to have to get this on my workbench. Shouldn't take too long to wire everything up, and then I can close it up by mounting the rear tail fins to the sub, run the wire down through the bottom here for however I'm going to hook it up to some direct power. But everything's good to go. I added some over the week. I added some Tamiya putty where the front and the rear, the sub join together. I applied the putty, did a light sanding, and I won't know where I stand with that until I get some primer on it underneath the sub. I'll point it out here. I have to do some light sanding on the bottom of the sub, but I can do that after I get everything wired up. Like I said here, the tail fins are just sitting on the sub. I got to wire the front and the rear of the sub together. That's what I got planned on today. Shouldn't take too long, but I figured I'd give everybody a quick update. I'm almost there to get it ready for some primer. So I'll go ahead and pause for now, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. I had the weekend off. Did a little bit of work on the sub. Did a lot of seam work and putty work, and finally got the rear tail fins mounted. Everything's working fine. I still have a little bit more work to do on the sub. I got to do a little bit of sanding and a little bit of cleanup with the putty, but then she's ready for some primer. After all this time it's taken me to get this 1/128 scale Seaview together. It's a large kit, as you can see here. It is in frame with the camera. It is from the front to the end of the sub, 39 inches long. It's going to look awesome in my display case once I get it there. I'll have to double check the masking I got on the front with the windows and searchlight and the floodlights and the lights for on the conning tower, and also the lights for the rear of the sub on the tail fins. I got to make sure everything's ready to go for the next step in priming, putting primer on the sub. Today I'll probably work a little bit on it today. I'm trying to think of the date. It's Monday. Let's see. Not sure on the date. 25th. It's either the 27th or the 28th. I know this Thursday's Halloween. Hard to believe this month's almost gone. But regardless of the date, this is Monday. And I'll do a little bit more work on the Seaview today. I go back to work tonight. My next day off is Thursday. I might get down here and get it ready for some primer. So I figured I'd give everybody a quick update on the Seaview, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. This is Thursday, October 31st. It's Halloween. I have the day off. I don't go back to work till tomorrow, which is hard to believe. It'll be November 1st. I got the sub about ready for the spray booth for some primer. Just wanted to show everybody. I've been filling the seams with putty, cleaning that all up, and everything's looking good. Everything so far looks good, and I should get it in the spray booth either today or tomorrow and get it primered up. The only thing I wanted to share with everybody, this is the doors for the flying sub bay, and I thought it would snap in to place, and it doesn't lock into place, which will be a problem when I airbrush this with my spray gun. I'm afraid of that flying off. So I took let me get this off. I took my foam cutter and my calipers. Let's see if I can get that off now. Let me get this here. Go ahead and get this off. I took my calipers, measured on the inside, and I cut me a piece of foam. You see right here, and it fits like a glove right down in the flying sub bay. You can see here it fits perfect. All I'll have to do is maybe take some tape just to play it safe and tape it on the inside so no overspray or anything will get on the inside. This piece that I cut out will protect it. As you can see here, it fits perfect. But you can see there's a little bit of a gap. And using my spray gun, I just don't want to take that chance of getting any spray down in there and overspray, that is, and getting it on the paint job that I already done to the flying sub bay, because that's all done on the inside there, and I don't want to take that chance of getting any overspray in there. I thought the cover would fit and it's snug, but it don't, and there's no way I can I thought of maybe getting some tape. I can try that, put some tape on each end. You got one that's, you can see here, it's a little bit longer than this side here. This one's a little shorter. Pick it up there. And that's on the front of the sub, and the longer one's on the end of the sub, but it just doesn't fit, and I don't have two-sided tape, so there's just no way I can rig this to sit in place there. I can always primer this on the side and paint it, but to do the overall paint job on the sub, to primer it and paint it, I thought this would be the best way to go. And cut that piece of foam, it fits like a glove, You can see all the way around. Great idea I came up with to protect that flying sub bay. You gotta double check everything, make sure it's ready for the spray booth. I'm gonna get it set up and go ahead and hopefully maybe primer the Seaview up today. We'll see. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but I figured I'd share this with everybody. Anybody down the road going to build this sub and do the steps I've been doing, light up the control room and the flying sub bay. You may have a problem with the hatch door thing here that covers that up over on the front of the sub where the flying sub goes. But that's about it for me rattling off on that little problem that I solved. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for now, get this ready for the spray booth, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update. I already hit the top of the sub with the Tamiya primer, and it's not looking too bad. I'll probably have to do a little more work to it, but you can see here it looks good. I'll have to repeat the same process on the bottom. It's looking really good. That primer is really nice. It lays down real nice. Got some parts back there I primered up. So I'm going to let this sit and dry. I'll probably repeat the same process on the bottom of the sub tomorrow. I'll go back to work, but I should have enough time to come down here and get the bottom. It's looking good. So I'll go ahead and pause for now. Talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. Yesterday I worked on primering up the Seaview. I went ahead and used the Tamiya gray primer, and it turned out awesome. I got about a quarter can left. So it almost took a whole can just to primer the top and bottom. Still have another full can. This is not cheap. This cost me 11 bucks. So it was $22 out the door to get the primer. I'm going to go ahead and turn the spray booth on. It's going to make a little bit of noise because of the exhaust fan, but let everybody get a good look at the Seaview. I've got some seam work to still clean up right here, same on the opposite side, and a little bit down here where the two parts join. I knew that was going to be a problem with the seam work, well, with the joining of the two parts, so I'm going to have to apply some putty or Bondo and lightly clean that up. Got a little bit of cleanup in here, not much, and the rest of the sub don't look too bad. I'll have to do a little bit of cleanup on the bottom of the sub, but overall it's looking good. That primer applied real nice to the Seaview. It looks really good. I got a little bit of cleanup in here yet to do, but I'm getting there. At least it's primered, and I'll know where I'll have to work on to clean it up. But I figured I'd give everybody a quick look. Got a little bit of cleanup down in here, and then I don't know if I can turn it to its sub to the side. Here, wait a second. Put it up on these. Everybody can get a better look. And here's the bottom. Everything's looking good. Let me see if I can just flip her over. There we go. You can see the bottom turned out pretty decent. Got a little bit of cleanup. You can see the seam right here. But I'm going to not go overboard on the bottom. I'll clean it up the best I can. And I missed a little spot right here, so I'm gonna, you know, go over it again with some more primer once I clean it up. It's looking good. I'll pick her up and let everybody take a look at the front. Front looks really cool. Turned out pretty decent. So she's getting there. I go back to work tonight. I work the next 4 days and I'm off the weekend. But I figured I'd give everybody a look at the Seaview. Once I can get this all done, I'll have to paint it and she's finished. So I figured I'd give everybody a quick update on the Seaview, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. I just applied some Tamiya putty. You can see I'll point it out where the two parts join. I went all the way around. And then on the fins, I had to apply a little putty, both sides. And then on top, there's a little bit right there you can see. And then over here. I thought about using some Bondo, but I'm just going to go ahead and work with what I've been working with, and that's the Tamiya putty. Trying to think of the date. This is Tuesday. November. Let's see. Well, let's pass on the date. I'll figure that out when I do a next update. But right now I'm going to let it set. Maybe through the work week, since I work third shift, I can come down here and do a little bit of work and get ahead of the game to where I can have it ready for some more primer this weekend coming up. You can see on the bottom there, I'll point it out, I got some more going, like I said, all the way around with the Tamiya putty. And I'll wet sand it, and I'll go real easy with it when I get to that step of sanding. But keep my fingers crossed. Seam work is not my top notch. How do you call it? I haven't mastered that part yet. Still working on it. It's going to be a little tricky, but I'll take my time at it. No hurry. It's in the final stages. After all that, and I'll hit it with some more primer. If it looks good, then it'll be ready for some paint. So I figured I'd give everybody a quick update on the Seaview, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on the Seaview. This is my weekend off. This is Sunday. I think it's November 10th. Tomorrow's Veterans Day. Been down in my shop the last couple days. Getting this done. Been wet sanding it. I applied some Tamiya putty. You can see here I've been hitting the spots where the front and the rear of the sub join. I applied some Tamiya putty. I know some guys use Bondo. I went ahead and kept my fingers crossed. I'm going to go ahead and try the Tamiya putty. I've already wet sanded it with 320 grit and 600 grit sandpaper. You can see my mess right here on the table. I've got some sponge sandpaper from Tamiya. This is 600 grit. Over here on the front of the sub, I've been cleaning it up. You can see here the rear of the sub's not too bad shape. I have to flip the sub over to show everybody. I have to clean up the fins on the top of the sub. The bottom's looking good. It's nice and smooth. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I am not a master at seam work. I hate working and dealing with seams because they're just a pain in the neck. At least for me it is. The guys got any tips and tricks out there, I'm all ears. I'll be happy to learn any tips and tricks in getting rid of the seam work without damaging or doing anything wrong to the model. But the sub's pretty good. I'm running my finger across here, as you can see, and it's nice and smooth. So I'm keep my fingers crossed when I hit it with another coat of primer that it's going to cover all that up and it's going to look good. And you can see here, I'm going to try to see if I can flip this with the holding the camera here. I want to get this done today, at least with the primer, before I try to attempt it with some paint. Here, like I said, you can see where the front and the rear subjoined. It had a real bad seam right here. Did the same thing. The only thing I got to do now is hit it with some 600 grit sandpaper, clean that up a little bit, both sides. Back here on the rear of the sub, I know the lighting is not the best. Still got to clean up this fin here. So I got to hit it with some 320 grit and then go over it with 600, but that's not going to take too long to clean that up. Here I had to do a little work here on top and the front here. As you can see, I cleaned this up here. You can see that, and same with the rear. Get these wires out of the way. And I did the rear of the back here. I cleaned that up. Not a lot that I got to do cleaning this up, which is awesome. I can't wait till I can get this done, put it in my display case. So what I'm going to focus on today is go over this with some 600 grit, clean it all up. Maybe take a damp paper towel and just go over the whole model real good to make sure there's nothing on it. So when I get it in the spray booth and hit it with some primer, should be good to go. The primer I'm using is the Tamiya. I still got about a quarter can left. It's not cheap. It's $11 a can. I mean, I could have went out and bought anything from Lowe's or Home Depot, but went to the model shop and picked this up a little over a week ago, and it's $11 a can. No, it's not cheap. I got a whole new can right here. You can see the price there. It's 11 bucks. But hopefully I won't have to go through both cans, but I don't care. This is basically what I bought it for. The Badger primer, it's just too thick to come out of my Iwata right here. You can see there's my Iwata. But I did order some thinner from the UK, Ultimate Modeling Supplies, I think, or Ultimate Modeling. I'll show it when it comes. I don't know how long it's going to be through customs before I get it, but I ordered 3 bottles. It's specifically universal with all types of primers and paints, and I specifically bought it for this because they guarantee it can thin this out. This primer is awesome. I got nothing wrong to say about it. It's just too dang thick to go even through that mini spray gun. That's why I bought the primer here, because I really want to knock this out, the sub, and get it out of the way. So I'm rambling off. I'll pause for now. I'll continue working on this, and then later today, hopefully this afternoon sometime, I can hit it with some more primer and see what my hard work looks like. And if everything turns out okay, then I can hit it with some paint either today or tomorrow. So I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, I'm back down in my model shop. This is Wednesday, November 20th, 20 after 3 in the afternoon. The weekend coming up, which is the 23rd, 24th, I have off. I haven't posted for a month on the Seaview. I've been working on the seam work on the sub for a month now, and it's just kicking my butt. I'm not a pro at this, far from it. I don't know tips and tricks in getting the seams not to show. I've puttied, sanded, primered over and over again, and it's just kicking my butt. I'm at the point now that I don't want to put the sub to the side and start something else up. I'm too close to getting it done, and that's what's been holding me up. I've got patience, but like anybody out there, building a kit, when it gets to the point you get frustrated, you put it to the side and you move on. Me, on the other hand, I like to take the challenge on and keep on working on it till it's done. Like I said, I'm not a pro at seam work. I hate it. It's as bad as putting decals on a model. I'll show what I've done so far. I bought 2 cans of Tamiya surface primer, gray primer. It's awesome stuff. I've almost used both cans on the sub just in the area where the front and rear of the sub join together, and I've tried everything that I can think of to get rid of those seams, and they just keep popping up. I'm at the point now I may just have to live with it. I'll try for the next couple of days and this weekend coming up to try to do my best to clean it up the best that I can. The bottom of the sub looks awesome. The rest of the sub looks good. It's a little rough with all the primering and sanding and everything. I'll have to clean it up real good before I paint it. But I'm going to go ahead and show you where I'm sitting at now. The sub's in the spray booth, and it looks good from a distance, but I'll point it out. I'll take the camera up to the sub and show you the problems I'm having with it. It's just a pain in the butt, pain in the neck, and like I said, I like to take a challenge on. I don't give up, but I'm rattling off. So let me turn the camera around and show you the Seaview. Alright, there she is in my spray booth, and you can see right where I'm pointing at, the front and the rear that join together makes a bad seam. And I've tried everything. I've Tamiya putty, Bondo, you name it. Sand it from 320 to 600 grit to 800 grit to 1000 grit sandpaper, and I'm still having issues with the seam showing. Overall, from this distance, it looks great, but it's kicking my butt, guys. What can I say? I did get this Ultimate Airbrush thinner from Ultimate Modeling Products. You can see right here, it's from the UK. It's good on any acrylic paints, and it does work on the Badger primer. I give thumbs up to that thinner. I ordered 3 bottles of it. You can see I just used a little bit to try to mix it with the Badger primer, because I don't care what anybody says. This Badger primer is good, but it's just too thick. It wouldn't even come out of my mini spray gun. It's that thick. So I experimented. I mixed it up, put it in a little bottle here with their airbrush thinner, and man, it works like a charm. So I got that problem solved. But with the sub, it's gonna probably be hard to see it. I'll have to bring it up here, but you can see the seam right there, and it's extremely annoying. I don't know what I did on top there, but it's completely gone. But right there you can see, and it's the same on the other side. It's just a pain in the neck. I don't know if I could turn this around and show everybody the other side. Let me see. This side's more apparent. As you can see, the seam work that the seams and the work I've been trying to do to cover that up, and it's just a pain in the neck, and that's what's holding me up with the sub. Don't know what else to do. If anybody's got any ideas out there, I'm all ears. Like I said, I'm not a pro at it. I keep banging my head, keep trying to clean that up, but I'll keep at it. I want to get this done and move on to my next project, but that's what's been holding me up, is the seams on that sub where the rear and the front join. I'll keep at it. That's about the best I could say right now. I'll go ahead and probably post this video sometime this week, let everybody know. I did do a lot of video on putting the sub together and getting it primered and puttied and all that. I'll probably put that up on my YouTube channel down the road, or just continue on this part and try to clean that up the best I can. Like I said, if anybody's got a tip or a trick or an idea, I'm all ears. Like I said, 90% of my models that I do come out looking awesome. Other ones I have problems with the seams, and it's just a pain in the neck. But I don't give up. I keep trying to do better on that part. But I'm rattling off. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for now. I'll put this up on my YouTube channel sometime this week, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, this is Wednesday, November 27th. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Another update on the sub. I've been working on the seam work on that Seaview for over a month, and I can finally say I'm done with it. Little bit of cleanup, but it's going to be ready for some paint. I can't wait to get that step done, and then I'll be finished with the Seaview. Last weekend I had off, this holiday weekend. Unfortunately, I have to work. I have to work tomorrow too on Thanksgiving. But I'm off today, Wednesday. So I'm back down in my shop, and I'm going to go ahead and my mistake was with all the putty work, the sanding, and the primer, I should have covered up the conning tower and the top of the sub, but I'll point it out. There's a little bit of cleanup I got to do before I go ahead and apply the paint. And I wanted to use my mini Iwata spray gun on it for the fact the size of the kit, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use my Grex airbrush on it, just so I can get trying to spit it out. I'll be more comfortable with that than using the mini spray gun, for the fact that the paint I have, I don't have a lot of it to spare. I'm keeping my fingers crossed I have enough paint to do that part of the build, but that part of painting it, not thinking today. A little tired. I didn't get much sleep, but I'm rattling off. So let me go ahead and show everybody the sub. I'm so glad that that's over with. It was the biggest challenge with the sub, getting it all cleaned up. I can't really give any tips or tricks. If anybody's got tips and tricks on seam work, I'm all ears on the sub, or any builds down the road that you got those seams and you just can't get rid of them. It was a big challenge for me, but I had patience and I took my time. It was a couple times I felt like walking away from it, but all the hard work that I did in the control room, lighting it up, and the conning tower lights up, the two fins in the back light up, I didn't want to give it up. I was too determined to get this done, clean up the seam work, and then paint it and put it in my display case. So like I said, I'm rattling off. Let me turn the camera around. I got it in the spray booth, and I'll show everybody. Alright, you can see the two different primers up on top of my spray booth, where I can point it out. I'll just stand up and show you. I almost used 2 cans of the Tamiya primer. I got about a quarter can left, and I didn't have enough primer to do all the work I had to do to the sub. So you can see here, seam is gone because the front and the rear, the way the model is put together, you got the front and rear of the sub, and you got to join it together.
and had a bad seam right down in here, and I puttied, sanded it, puttied over and over again to the point that I was just getting ready to give up on it. But like I said, I was too determined to get this done, because overall, I'll have to back up here, it's an awesome sub. Anybody who wants to build it, you're just going to have patience when you put the two parts together. The other side's the same way. Let me see if I can flip her over and show the other side of the sub. Here's the other side. You can see it's nice and no seam work. It's the two parts joined right here, and you can't see it. It's gone. Like I said, I went over and over the process over and over again until I got it to where you barely see it, and I'm happy with the results. Now the cutting towel is a little scuffed up. I'll have to clean that up. Up on top, it's a little scuffed up in here, a little bit in the front here. I'm going to have to clean it up, but I'll go over it with some sandpaper, 1000 grit, or something at a higher grit sandpaper, so I'm not going to have to reprimer the whole model, which wouldn't be a problem to reprimer the whole sub and then use the paint. And the paint that I have, keeping my fingers crossed, from Mission Models. I've got the top of the sub is the light ghost gray. I bought 2 bottles. Now that should be enough, and I don't think I have enough, and I would use too much paint if I used my mini spray gun, so I'll have to go ahead and use my airbrush. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed this is going to be enough paint. It should be. And then I have for underneath of the sub is camouflage gray. You see right here, camouflage gray, and I got 2 bottles of that, so I should have more than enough paint to do the sub. I'll keep my fingers crossed. One thing I did do, just in case, if I didn't want to go that route with the Mission Models, because I went online to try to get some more paint, and they were out of the they had the camouflage, but they were out of the light ghost gray. So what I did is I went online. I went to Hobby Link, I think it's Hobby Link, and I've got, this is Acrylic Paints. I can get it out. I bought 6 Model Masters. It is camouflage gray. You can see here I bought 6 bottles, so I have more than enough. I want to go this route instead of using the Mission Models paints, and they're both the same. This might look a little, the Mission Models might look a little bit lighter than the Model Masters, but they're both camouflage. And then I also got from Tamiya, I got 6 bottles of theirs, and XF66 light gray is supposed to be equivalent to the light ghost gray, and they're pretty close. I know the light ghost gray definitely does look a lot lighter than the Tamiya, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I'm going to go ahead and use the Mission Models, because that's what I bought the paints for the sub. I should have, at the time when I ordered, I should have gotten more than just 2 of each, but I'm thinking I should have well more than enough paint to do the top of the sub with the light ghost gray, and then the bottom. Definitely won't have no problem with the bottom. With the paint I got here, should be able to cover the bottom up. But I figured I'd give everybody an update on the Seaview. Today I'm going to clean it up. I don't have to go back to work till tomorrow night, Thanksgiving. I start my shift at 10 o'clock. So if I really stay focused today, clean this all up, it might be a good chance that I can paint it today, which would be cool. But I wanted to give everybody an update that it's been over a month since I posted on the sub, but I've been steady working on the seam issues that I had with the sub, and I finally got that done. Would I build another one down the road? I've got the movie version of the Seaview. Probably not anytime soon. Just for the length of time it takes to clean up the seam work. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a wrap. I think this would be update number 16. My final wrap up of the sub will be painting it and then hitting it with a dull coat, and then unmasking the front of the sub because I got the windows in the front covered up, and I got the conning tower in the rear covered up with tape to take that all off once it's all done. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'd like to thank all my YouTube subscribers. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. And I'll talk to everybody later.